Welcome to hints and tips on how to use the STYLPRO Spin and Squeeze 2-in-1 makeup brush and sponge cleaner. Let's get started. What do you get in the box? So to clean your sponges, you'll need the bowl, the pebble, the press, and the sponge sparkle solution. And to clean your brushes, you'll also need the bowl and the pebble alongside the 8 rose gold collars and the brush cleanser. The first thing when cleaning your brushes is to ensure you use the correct collar. There are 8 collars inside the pack to fit a variety of different brush sizes. Here we have a dirty brush. I found a collar that fits it perfectly, so I'm just going to pop the collar on the top. As you can see, it's nice and straight to ensure that the brush stays within the bowl and doesn't splash over the edges. Now the pebble is secured and the collar's nice and tight around the brush, I need to check that the brush is spinning straight downwards. As you can see, this is performing correctly. If the brush was loose in the collar or slightly to the diagonal, you would find that the brush would bash against the side of the bowl and cause quite a bit of mess. This is the brush cleanser. You don't need to mix with water and you can clean up to 3 brushes with the same solution. Now the solution's in the bowl, you may be tempted to spin straight away, but for maximum effect, we would advise dunking the brush a few times before spinning. To dry the brush, you lift it out of the solution. The bigger the brush, the longer it might take to dry. You might find that once the brush is dry, it might be sprayed out slightly. All you need to do is simply reshape with your hand. Now our brushes are clean, we need to empty out our bowl. For this purpose, I'm just going to grab a new one. However, if you're at home, you just simply discard the cleanser. The reason we clean out our bowl is because we use a completely different solution to clean our sponges. We don't use the brush cleanser because it contains oils that conditions our brushes that would leave our sponge greasy. Hence why we introduce the sponge sparkle solution. For maximum effect, pour the sparkle solution onto the sponge and use the press to massage the sponge to ensure all of the solution is absorbed. Once that's done, simply grab your kettle and pour onto the sponge. When cleaning your own sponges, you can do multiple at a time, but ensure you use enough solution for each sponge. Now the hot water is present, you need to ensure that you press this button to lift up the press to avoid your hands going anywhere near the hot water. When scooping up the sponge, use the side of the bowl to help guide your sponge into a nice straight position. Before you squeeze, make sure your sponge is on straight. Now that the sponge has been squeezed, I'm using the pebble to get rid of all the excess solution. Ensure that you don't lift it too high over the bowl as it may cause a bit of a mess. And there we go. Remember, if you haven't cleaned your sponge or your brush in quite a while, you may need to do the process twice. If you have any questions, please email teamtom@stylideas.com.